Hello, today I'm going to teach you how to do start using Maya, which is a 3D editing program. You will see it over here in my sidebar. And I'm getting used to this program, so don't mind me. With this program, what its main thing is 3D modeling. Most 3D modelers in the game industry or movie industry will start off with Maya for their simple little blockouts. So I'm not going to go in depth right now about modeling, but what I will do is teach you how to do little simple things with it, such as use the menus, which is really where you want to start. So when you start out, it looks like this. Not too shabby. You can change the background by going into your Windows settings, which is up here. And this is actually where we're going to start, right up here. Now, you'll notice you have a rendering thing right here, which is in fact another menu. And we're going to switch that to polygons for this, since that should be your default. So, first things first, you have your shapes, which are right here. And if you don't see these when you start up, go into General, or go over here. All these little tabs here will be your stuff. Go into polygons and stay there for a little while, since that's what we're going to be starting out with. Now, this is where I want to take you next. This little sidebar here. First, you have your select, which is your default just select things tool. And then this is your lasso, your paint, which allows you to paint select. And I'm sorry if the screen is flashing, it really does not agree with this program. Here's your move tool, rotate. This is your scale. And that's all you really need for now. Select, lasso, paint, move, rotate, and scale. Move, rotate, scale, and select are going to be your big ones. So just keep that in mind. First thing we're going to do is go up to File. You have New Scene, Open Scene, Save Scene. Pretty self-explanatory. Usually when you start a project, you're going to want to set your scene, which means that you're going to want to just set your project here. And this window will take you anywhere you want to go. Alright, so let's say you want to make a folder for your file. So I'm going to call this folder Tutorial. Or well, actually, new folder, Tutorial, and set. Alright. Create a default workspace. That means that every time you open this project, all your settings from the last time you used it will be saved. And now, when you go up here again, and you go to Save Scene As, you can see right here, it looks here. Otherwise, it'll look in the Maya regular folder, and you really don't want that if you're on something that's really time-consuming and you don't want to have to keep setting everything up every time you open it. So, now that we have that, let's look at our polygons here. Now, what is a polygon? A polygon is essentially an object with vertices. And of course you have your sphere, your cube, your cylinder, your cone, your plane. I'm a modeler, I swear. I just don't remember the name of this right now. Pyramid. And this little bugger right here. As I said, I'm really not into things right now, so. All your other tools, as you'll see over here, polygons, polysplit, extrude, I believe that's bridge. You have all these little other tools that we'll get into later. You're not going to need them yet. Now let's do a little demonstration here. I'm going to create a polycube, and all I have to do is click it, and it will show up on the grid. Now, your grid may look different, I'm not sure. it really all comes down to what you do in your options. So if you go to Windows, Settings, and Preferences, you'll find your preferences. That can make your grid bigger or smaller, or your background a different color. So if it doesn't look exactly the same, it's okay. Now, while your Select tool is on, you can select your cube. Then you can scale your cube. The green, blue, and red are your X, Y, and Z coordinates. So that tells you how tall or how wide something is going to go in a specific direction. And if you'll notice, they do directly correspond with world space, which is shown down here. Blue is Z, red is X, green is Y. Now to move in Maya, it's not the simplest. You will need a 3-button mouse. It's non-negotiable. It has to be a 3-button mouse. If you don't want to use a 3-button mouse, you may find yourself behind in other areas. Left click and Alt. Oh, gotta turn this off again. Left click and Alt will allow you to rotate. Right click and Alt will allow you to pan and zoom. Your middle mouse will allow you to do the same, but you have more control with Alt and right click. Now you can click your middle mouse and Alt, and it'll allow you to move around the scene in any direction you wish to go. Now your middle mouse is also useful for things like scaling, rotating, and all that. You can click the scale option and then use your middle mouse to drag up and down. And that's an easier way to do certain things, like when you're animating and you really don't want to take your eyes off of what you're doing. It can be much simpler to do it like that than to eyeball it. Now you'll notice our cube is transparent. Not many models are transparent. So now we're going to go over shading. Up here you have some shading options, or you have them from your keyboard. This is shaded, and if you click off of it, it just looks like a regular cube. And this is shaded with wireframe, which means you can see the little blue lines on it, which tell you that the object is shaded, or it shows you where your edges are. Now you can do this on the keyboard as well. 4 will make an object transparent, 5 will make an object shaded, and 6 will make the object with wire, or actually 6 will texture it. I don't think wireframe is available up here. It's not. Okay. So now you might be wondering, that's 4 and 5, Jamie. What about 1, 2, and 3? 1 is a hardness mode. So 1 is your general geometry without any smoothing. 2 will smooth an object and show you the lines where everything is. 3 will smooth an object completely. You want to be careful about this because smoothing actually can get dangerous when you're modeling, because the edges and curves can curve in on each other, and that'll give you some intersecting geometry. You can find actually more menus by holding down Shift and using the left mouse or the right mouse. So I'm going to model this for 3 modeling, smooth modeling, and I'm going to insert an edge loop. All I'm going to do is click on a side. It's going to enter the loop, and I'm going to turn this a little bit, click on the side, enter a loop. I'm just going to do this all the way around. The goal is to make it look smooth while in 3 mode, but to not completely have it curve in on itself. Alright, now when you're done, press Q, and that'll take you back to your select tool. And then when I press 3 now, it looks just like a regular box, except it has more faces, and it looks a little smoother on the edges. What I just added were faces. If you right-click over the object and go down to face mode, you can select every individual face on the object. Now, adding more faces to a piece of geometry will make it use more memory. And Maya is notorious for eating up memory as if it were a kid in a candy store. So you want to be careful about that. Next, I'm going to teach you how to extrude. You can select one face, click the extrude button, and now it'll give you some extruding options for scaling and moving stuff. Unfortunately, Maya's extrude options are not that great, so I'm going to use the scale, move, and rotate tools for this. I'm just going to click scale, scale it down, and then move it up a little bit. Yeah, that looks good. Now, I could go up here to extrude again, or I could press a button on my keyboard. The G key will make everything you do. After you do it, if you press the G key, you can do it again without having to go up to the menu for the option for it. There's a lot of things that aren't on the menus that are that's a really good way to do it. So I'm going to press G again, or well, I'm going to press G at all, and now I'm just going to move it up a little more. It makes another set of faces. Yeah, that looks cool. I don't know what it is, but it looks cool. Now if I go back into 3, that's what it looks like. You'll notice that the shading on this is a little off, so I'm going to go into Shift, Soften, Harden Edge, Soften Edge. Now this softens the whole object, so when it's shaded it looks softer. And now if we click one of these, this one will make it high quality, so it'll show us the shading of the object. And it won't look so low quality. Another way to fix that, to make everything look a little better, is right click, vertex, and see these little, there are a lot of little pink dots on the object, right here namely. Now what we can do is select these pink dots, go to our move tool, and move them around. Let's just move them wherever. Just getting the hang of things. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can also marquee select them, but be careful because you will select things on the other side of the model. So let's say I wanted to do this. I would select everything. Just move things around a little bit, make it look interesting. And there you have it. Typically, the hardness or softness of an object will be determined by how many edges it has. So, of course you can control Z, as usual, it's Maya, but you can't control Z forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some extra edge loops to this, and only add edge loops in one mode. That's edge ring. What am I doing wrong here? Okay. I'm going to add some extra edge loops, and that will help it conform to shape better. Give it some extra faces to work with. There we go. Q to get out of the tool. And then you're going to have to left click or right click and go back to object mode. You just hold down the button when you do that, and you can drag. Now when we go back to 3, it doesn't look so, the edges don't look so rough. It has a shape, and that's what you're going for. Now, I'm going to teach you edge mode now. Edge mode allows you to select every individual edge, and if you double click on it, you can select the whole edge ring. Sometimes when you've done something like this, when you've extruded, you're not going to be able to select the whole edge ring because there isn't any other edge, anywhere for it to go. But if you shift and double click all the way around, you can select all the edges that you want. And then extrude, pull them in, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want. Looks like I have a triangle there. Another thing about modeling is when you first start out, you want to model in quads. Oh, no, wait, that is a quad. A quad means that you have 4 vertices. So for the corner where 2 edges meet, there's going to be a vertex. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Try to keep it to quads. It makes everything a lot simpler in the long run. And if you don't mess around with things too much, it's okay. If you find that you've got a try or an n-gon being something with more than 4 vertices, or a try meaning a face with 3, you can go to, let's see, I'm going to go back to object mode. Here we go, split polygon tool. You can just drag on the object, and you're going to make a ring that goes around, and that should get rid of your quad if you do it right. And then you just press enter to finish the tool, and there you go, a new edge ring. Since I didn't have any quads, I'm not going to worry about it. So this is basically how you begin modeling. In my next tutorial, I'll probably go over how to do something specific, so I'll need some input on what you guys want to see. Keep in mind, Maya is for blocking. It's not for doing anything really intense unless it's geometric, like a car. If it's a car, then yes, you would do it in Maya. If it's organic, like a human body, you would use a program called ZBrush, which I can also show. For now, before I save, I'm going to select my object. I'm going to go over here to the layer editor. Click this button right here, which says create a new layer and assign selected objects. Click it, double click my layer. You have to use underscores in Maya. Maya does not like spaces. So if you name a layer, I usually do L underscore blockout, and then what I would call the piece of geometry. So kind of looks like a jar. So jar. Save. And now I can click this little button here, make it disappear, or turn it into a transparent or reference. So whenever I need it, it's there, and I can't click it. Now you just go up to File, Save Scene As, call this Oct16 tutorial. Save As. And I'm using a student version of Maya, so I'm just going to click Continue. It doesn't really do anything. And then you can just close the program. Now, next video, I want you guys to let me know what you would like to see. I've shown you some fundamentals and some basics, some very, very, very basic at basics. For now, I don't want to go into texturing. I don't want to go into ZBrush, not yet. And I'd prefer to keep it to little things when it comes to Maya for these tutorials. I can, even though I don't want to show texturing, I can go ahead and show the hypershade. Excuse my shitty handwriting. Or you can, if you guys would like it, instead of the hypershader, I can go ahead and show you some other little things like basic animation. Animation in Maya is a bit of a chore, but something like a ball bouncing, I can easily show that. Now, if you really are interested in Maya, go to autodesk.com, I believe that's where it is, and you can get a 30-day tutorial or a 30-day trial. If you are in a college or institution, it's all free. So if you really want to do that, I suggest going that route. I'm not going to ask any other ways to get it. I don't want to know. So you tell me. Thank you for watching this video, and I look forward to speaking with y'all in the future. Leave some comments in the comment section if you have any other questions about Maya or 3D rendering in general, and I can give you a heads up or try and help you to the best of my ability. Thank you.